Stew's ready if you want some.
I'm good. Thank you, though. Oh, Snowdropper, welcome. Just give me 1 second here. How are we doing tonight? Yeah, so far, so far. I mean, we typically only have the two anyways, so it's not that bad. So unfortunately, I believe my tablet is officially dead, which means we cannot do any more drawing streams. So again, we'll have to find something else to do. Yeah. Yeah. But what you gonna do? I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it like got too cold or like I don't know, I just didn't use it enough, but I don't know, it just ran out of battery and then no matter how much I charge it, never turned back on. Unfortunate, but I did go with a cheap one, so it is what it is. It is what it is. We will have to find something else to do tonight. But I don't know. I felt the last ones where we were just talking about the book and chatting. We're doing pretty all right. I don't know if we want to wait for Finch. Yeah, I don't know either. It just I don't know. Don't know. Just won't turn back on. I didn't like drop it or anything. I put it exactly in the same spot that I always do when I'm not using it. I don't know. And that's a shame because I drew a bunch of like funny stuff on there, and now I probably won't be able to get any of that back because I don't think that the app I was using to like draw any of this stuff in had like login capabilities. It was kind of like a device only kind of thing. So it's not like I can just like log in on a different device and get all the images back. So I don't know. It is what it is. RIP my tablet. I'll probably get a new one. I'll probably see what I can do about getting a new one. It is a shame. It is. I had a lot of fun with that. Just messing around with it. So I am dying to know what everyone's thoughts are on the newest arc of Whip Hand and Valor. What we're going on here. I know losing the and it takes time for like digital art stuff. Like it's not just like I don't. It seems like harder for me at least than just sitting down with paper and just drawing stuff. So yeah, it is disappointing losing all that. Yeah, because I mean, only other thing I could think of doing is like sending it in for like to get fixed or something, or just getting it checked out. I mean, there is like a digital device shop over by my house, so I could take it in, just be like, "Hey, what can we do about this?" But, but I don't know. It's been turning on. Yeah, that was one of my concerns about this chapter, is because it kind of throws in a lot of new characters all at once. Um, and there's still, believe it or not, there's still a few more surprises coming your way. Did you get a chance to read Friday's chapter yet? Because I don't want to be, I don't want to be spoiling anything if you haven't. Tulu's got you thinking. Thinking about what, mayhaps? Perchance. You're not a bad reader. I'm a bad writer. I'm a bad writer because like the last two times I've been real busy and stuff. I was just sick on Friday, and like literally the night before, I was scrambling to get the chapter finished, and then and then immediately got sick the next day. Yeah, last 2 weeks I've been putting the chapters off for a while. I mean, the barricade chapter, I was putting that off because I knew, like I said, for me, like the chapters where they're just sitting there doing the banter is literally just the easiest things for me, because it's just, if I were all these characters, it's how I would interact and talk with each other, and fun little stuff to talk about, fun little tidbits about each of the characters and little things, little jokes. Throwing that in there how I want to. I've already been like rushing the process. Ugh. Yeah, that doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound fun. I on Friday got, I suppose you could call it food poisoning. um, but let's just leave it at ingested a biohazard. So that did not feel good for the day. The banter is by far one of my favorite things about your writing. Thank you so much. If I could write a book that was just all Chris and Lloyd just bantering with each other, I would. But there would be literally no point in it, because there would be no narrative whatsoever. There would be no stuff. I mean, the hard thing about Whip Hand and Valor, and I called it The Adventures of Whip Hand and Valor Volume 1 on purpose, because each chapter is meant to be like episodic. So it's meant to kind of capture the feeling of an episode of a cartoon, where they don't it's not necessarily an overarching narrative. Like in the first book it was, because it was all leading to them getting powers at the end, and like everybody along the way came back to either fight against them or fight alongside them. So it was all kind of like all leading up to this moment kind of thing. But with Whip Hand and Valor, it's all kind of, there is definitely filler. It's mostly filler. Like not a lot of it is going to be like narrative. It's not building up to anything in particular. I mean, there's obviously this book is going to reveal, their secret powers by the end of it. So I suppose that can be considered the overarching narrative of this. But by the time we get to volume 2, it's really going to ramp up, leading towards the I'll just call it the big finale of where I want to take the Chris and Lloyd story. I'm telling you, I make it very, very apparent, like a very big point to make them apparent in every chapter, at least. Well, not every like quote-type chapter, but every book chapter. Like they're like, and I also shouldn't say apparent, but like I would make them appear, or used, or involved somehow. It's not easy to spot. It's not easy to spot. I'm telling you that. It's not like they're just gonna like fly, it's not like a obvious, like in your face superpower, like the super strength or teleportation is. But I think the breadcrumbs I'm leading across, you're gonna go back all the way to Chris and Lloyd want superpowers, and you're going to just see all the little moments where they all fall in line, where everything is like that. Yep. Both books, they're present in both books. Both books all have little hints and sprinklings of their secret powers the whole time. And I wrote it that way on purpose. The yeah, but volume 2 is going to move outward instead of inward, because Chris and Lloyd in volume 1 are more about like them coming to gain their powers and then deal with their powers and then discover the secret powers. Hey, don't worry. It's not that obvious. It's kind of well hidden. Not that I'm trying to pat myself on the back, but it's kind of not obvious. It would more have to be like pattern recognition, like noticing something repeating throughout both books. I would be impressed if you figured it out. I would probably request that you not like tell anyone else about it, but no, yeah, I would be impressed. But no, yeah, volume 2 will be more like it would be more about like specific threats or like big overarching danger or something that they're building to and surmounting to, rather than them dealing with their own stuff. So first 2 books is going to be like internal battles and stuff, and second 2 books, because it's going to be volume 2 is going to be all set up, and volume 3 is going to be all the stuff in action. And then I have a couple more books planned out after that. Not Chris and Lloyd specifically, but more stuff in the universe. I feel really guilty, actually, that I didn't release a book for Christmas, because that was kind of like my thing, is that I was releasing a whole book every year by Christmas. But just taking on Whip Hand of Valor, it's such a big book this time around, because I want it to be at least, at the bare minimum, I'd want it to be at least the length of Chris and Lloyd Want Superpowers, which was like 400 pages. And let me, because I have no idea what I'm at right now. 236 pages. So at the bare minimum, I want this to be the halfway point. The werewolf chapter, I want that to be the halfway point of the book. So there's still quite a lot of the book left, and I'm hoping I can make it all worthwhile. I was planning originally to kind of have working in secret on revamping the Black Rabbit book and then publishing that for Christmas. But with everything else, trying to figure out this book, I do another YouTube channel that I have to edit videos for, and I've even been slacking on that recently. Yeah, it just didn't happen. It was not gonna happen. I still want to. That's probably what I'm going to do after Whip Hand of Valor is finished. Is I'm going to do the Black Rabbit book, and it probably won't be as long. Like, I think at maximum it'll be about 200 pages. Like, it's going to be a pretty short one, admittedly, but that's fine, because I'm also planning on doing books on like all 4 of them. Like, that's the ideal point, is to do a book on each of the Black Rabbits, but just because I thought out like their backstories and their front stories, like what I'm doing with the character in present time, rather than whatever the opposite of backstory is. But no, and then all of that will lead up to the 4th Black Rabbit, and you'll get to see how he got a hold of the mask. You'll get to see how all the other 3 come together to kind of train him and pick up his confidence. And then by the end of that book, you will see him become the Black Rabbit in the Chris and Lloyd book. Yeah, me too. I want to put them in the universe more, but it's hard to find like cracks to squeeze them into. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many characters in the universe that I want to introduce, but it only works for some of them to kind of just throw them out willy-nilly. And the other ones, it kind of just needs like a whole book to itself. And the other ones, it would kind of feel cheap if Chris and Lloyd just like ran into them for a chapter and I kind of just speed ran their whole lore. Because honestly, before Chris and Lloyd, Renegades and Book Club had no intention of being like cornerstones of the universe that I made. There were like 2 separate teams. No, 3. There were about 3 separate teams that were meant to be like the big, like, main hero teams, like Avengers level, Justice League level. Like, they were big in universe. Like, they were the guys to call. And I suppose I can still like make it that in universe they're important. But like, as far as the books go, it's not focusing on them. But again, I want and plan to be writing these books for as long as I can. So eventually, once I kind of complete the Whip Hand and Valor arc of the books, and I can start like branching out into the other heroes more, I can do the more Black Rabbits. I can do more of the other teams. I don't know if you remember from the extended universe, but there was Church and Grimm, the guy who had like the ghost dog pet. Like I had a whole storyline set up for them, and they were gonna be kind of like those two were gonna be kind of like how Chris and Lloyd are like the main like the tree trunk of the superheroes, and then everybody else is kind of branching off from that. Like they're the hub, if that makes any sense. But they were gonna be for all like the paranormal ones, like Crank and Shank were gonna, be involved with them. Miss Fortune and a bunch of other characters I've been sitting on. We're gonna be involved in that, and so he was gonna kind of be leading the way into the paranormal and like magic and monster side of my hero universe here. But no, I just have a lot of ideas and not a lot of organization to get them all into books at a proper time. Because when I was doing Chris and Lloyd, admittedly, I was posting twice a week. I was posting that twice a week, so it went through kind of fast. But at this pace, like it's 52 chapters in a year, and I've averaged out about like 2 pages because I've up until very now, my minimum has been 2 pages per Quotev chapter. So by the end of the year, I would have like 104 pages in total in a year. And I'm like, that's really low. So after I like did the math and realized that, I'm bumping up my minimum for Quotev chapters to 3 pages. Like I won't post it if it's not less than 3 pages. Like I need to up my minimums. I'm like, obviously I want to do more than that. Like if I can do like 4, 5, 6 page chapters, I will. But I need to like really be in a groove or like really get into it. And it's not even that. It's more like is there like a natural stopping point? Because you know me, I like to end each chapter off on like a semi cliffhanger or like a good like pause beat or something. So if I can like squeeze in like a lot of writing, that's why the action scenes tend to be longer, is because I can just like there's not like a good dramatic moment to pause, so they're just out there fighting the whole time. Which is nice. But again, for me, that's the hardest part, is doing the action, because it's all I know that I'm trying to keep the readers invested. I'm trying to do that. I'm a big cliffhanger guy. I like cliffhangers. I like to end the chapters with like a gut punch, so you're just like, oh, like something shocking. Oh, thank you. I got this as a Christmas present. Like, was it 2 years ago? I think. Yeah, 2 years ago. My mom's friend does little water bottles and stuff, so she printed out the book cover, put it on a cup, and I've been drinking out of it ever since. Cool. Yeah. If I had the capabilities to produce merch, I would sell that, but no. Unfortunately, that's just a me thing. Although you could probably find like an online something or other, and like a custom water bottle thing online, and upload the Chris and Lloyd book cover on there, or the World's Greatest Book Club on there, so you can get your art on a water bottle. That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Do that. That would be cool. That'd be cool. World's Greatest Book Club cup. I'd buy that. All right, let's see. It doesn't look like Finch is going to be joining us, unfortunately. That's okay. We can try again next week. Any last thoughts about the current chapters? I mean, obviously you didn't read the last one, but any of the characters in particular that you're liking, any of them that you really don't like, ones you're, I don't know, you said Tallulah got you all suspicious, or what was the word that you used? Would you say? Let me scroll back here. Got you thinking. So, Uncle Cliff has been in my repertoire of heroes for a while. But he was one of those ones where I just created the character and didn't really, have a plan for him story wise. And I thought that this was a good avenue to introduce him and introduce Tallulah. Tallulah is actually a pretty recent development. I didn't create her until it was sometime just last year. Like she's a relatively new character. And she wasn't originally going to be related to Cliff at all. But I thought like it was just kind of obvious. Cause I mean, because at the time her big thing is so her nickname is Moonbeam, her name is Tallulah, and her last name is Sylvan. And I did all that on purpose, kind of fun because those are all street names around like my childhood house, so I wanted to kind of play with that a little bit. Did I say hero? I didn't mean to. If I called Cliff a hero, I should not have. But I kind of just have a list of characters, and if they're not just like outright evil, I'll just put them on the hero list. I have a hero list and a villains list. And I'll kind of just split them up between there. I should get like a neutral anti-hero and morally ambiguous. But no, I wouldn't count him as a hero really. Where was I going? I lost my train of thought. Tallulah. Oh yeah, so I put so her nickname and her first and last names are all street names around where I grew up. And the thing is that I created Cliff so long ago that I didn't want to change his name. So I was trying to like I wanted to make Tallulah his daughter, but then I would have to come up with some reason why they have different last names. And I was kind of like fidgeting on like what to do, like what I should do that. And I was like, oh, just uncle. just make Cliff her uncle then. And that actually works a lot better than him being her father in the long run. Or just in like narrative wise. I think he fits better as Uncle Cliff than dad to her. But if you are expecting, we do have Finch. Uncle Cliff is a good name. Thank you. Somebody said it. Hey Finch, we were just talking about the the new episode arc here with the werewolf going on. Snowdroplet still has not read the newest chapter, so don't spoil anything about that quite yet. But I'm doing some like recon here to get a feeling, which of the new, because I did admittedly throw in a lot of new characters here. Um, so I'm trying to gauge thoughts on the new characters. Crank, Shank, Tallulah, Uncle Cliff, and this werewolf running around. What do these guys have in the backseat of their car? What's their deal? Any questions or anything you were wondering about in the newer chapters, aside from the last one, which we won't spoil for Snowdroplet, obviously. Nothing you can say. You don't want to spoil. All the questions you have involved spoilers for the next chapter. I was really hoping that this chapter would go over well, because Crank and Shank are characters that I've been sitting on for a while. Like 11 years. 11 years ago. Wow, I feel old, but no, it was 11 years ago I created Crank and Shank, and they're all right, Snowdroplet, fair enough, fair statement. Hey, it's only 2 pages, shouldn't take you that long, actually. But no, yeah, I've been sitting on Crank and Shank for about a good 11 years now, and it might have been 12, actually. Yeah, I've had them in my pocket for a while. But when I wrote a book with them as the main characters and their adventures in cryptid hunting in my sophomore year of high school. And it was way before I knew anything about writing. So I was just kind of it was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. And like nothing made sense. And there was like no narrative flow whatsoever. It was kind of just like this happened and then this happened and then they did this. And then like I could go back and read it now and just poke holes in it. Okay, so why did they do that instead of just doing this? And then younger me would be like, didn't even think of that. I did not concern me. Like it. Yeah, they were talking in the chapter when they were just like bantering back and forth about that. They're twins. I should totally not publish that book because it's really, really bad. It's horrendous. It is horrendous. It is abysmal. I think I have like one copy somewhere in my room, like printed out on actual Lies and Deceit. No. No, it's the truth. It's terrible. It is so cringe. I can't even give you examples from the book. It's so bad. It is so bad. No, there's not only one way to find out. No, there's not. No, there's not. Let's see. What do they do? I'll give you the brief bullet points. For some reason, somehow, 2 high schoolers go to the Bermuda Triangle, and then they get attacked by giant squid, and then they wash up on shore in Puerto Rico, and then they hunt a chupacabra, and then they accidentally get on the wrong boat and end up in England, where they kill a hellhound, and then they go back home. The end. Yeah, isn't that brilliant? It's awful. It is dog awful. What do you mean, huh? Huh. Okay. No, it's really bad. The writing is terrible. It was way before I knew how to do anything. No, I would not recommend ever reading that. Yeah, I'll look it over, and if it's not embarrassingly, disgustingly horrendous, I could potentially do that on stream one of these days. Or if it's long, and I don't even remember how long it is. If it's long enough, I could stretch it out over multiple streams. But no, I actually like, despite their terrible origins, I really did like. Don't ask that question. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. I've had to rewrite origins and power origins for several characters, just because what I had originally planned when I was younger was so unbelievably cringe that even for a like comedy book, like even for something that's supposed to be silly and goofy, it was still ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. I am surprised that the uh the amount of heroes I was able to salvage from being a kid, because the ones that I made up in elementary school, I still have a handful of them around. Like, I was still able to save some of them by rewriting them a little bit. There's one in particular. If I need to give a good example of how terrible my heroes originally were as a kid, but I was a kid, okay, is that I had one character. I made this up in 3rd grade, mind you. Like, brace yourself for how terrible and stupid and cringe this is. And his name was Automatic School Supplies. Brilliant. I thought I was being sneaky, but naming him that, because then I can shorten it to ASS, and that was a naughty word, and that was funny. But no, he he swallowed a bunch of glue and pencils and scissors, and now they were part of his body. Excellent hero origin story, by the way. I was a mastermind as a child. But no, that never even made it off, like, the crappy drawing that I did. In fact, I threw it's not a cool origin story, Finch. Stop lying to me. No. And that was funny. Snowdroplet, are you back? Chapter finished? No, you don't know what you have to do now. No, you don't. No, you don't. No. Not halfway. Okay, fair enough. But no, I always really liked Crank and Shank as a concept. And surprisingly, I came up with them before I even I didn't watch Secret Saturdays growing up, and that's basically what that is that it's a family hunting cryptids. And it was way before I even like heard of the show Supernatural, which is two brothers hunting monsters and cryptids. And so like I just came up with that on my own. Like that was my biggest worry about introducing Crank and Shank, is that people would only see it as like a Supernatural ripoff, when like I completely came up with the concept entirely of my own accord. But I think sticking them more to like just cryptids in themselves, like Bigfoot and Mothman, and that it gives them enough of a distinctual difference. Oh, yeah, was that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I am super glad that I'm finally able to weave these two into the Chris and Lloyd universe here. It's been a long time in the waiting for them to actually get spotlight and get involved in this. And by the end of this arc here, I plan to introduce a concept that I don't actually remember if I touched upon yet, because Crank and Shank are partially associated, or at least like aware of. They're going to introduce something like an organization or a group or something to Chris and Lloyd, and it's gonna be like a pretty big significant part of not only the world building, but also what's more to come down Chris and Lloyd's personal storyline in particular. So they'll probably drop a mention of that somewhere, obviously after they beat the werewolf. Um, so excited to do that. Excited to have Crank and Shank here. I was talking to Snowdroplet before about Tallulah and Uncle Cliff. They were. Oh, it all makes sense now, does it? Does it make sense now? How very interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a big reveal. But yeah, no, I was Uncle Cliff and Tallulah. I've been sitting on Uncle. I've been sitting on Uncle Cliff for a while, but like never had any plans for him. He was kind of just a nothing. Well, he's a werewolf now, don't you? So, so he was just kind of like my, if I needed a werewolf storyline, here's a guy who's a werewolf. And then Tallulah was actually a character I created fairly recently as well. The werewolf is indeed the curse collector. Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Interesting. If that is true, why? Why would he be here? What does he want? But if it's not true, then who is it? Interesting. Finch. He's not the Beast of Bray Road. He's not. He's very not. Real cryptid, by the way. I did not make that up. My friend thought I made that up. He'd never heard of the Beast of Bray Road before, even though he lives in the damn state. But no, I actually live fairly close by to Bray Road itself. It's only like a few hours drive from here. I've always wanted to go there and just take pictures and that, but it is just a highway. So I mean, I would probably go out there and like take a picture with the Bray Road sign, like the street sign. I think that would be cool. Now I was huge into cryptids as a kid, so I know a lot more than I probably should have. No, yeah, I would pose with the Bray Road street sign, yeah. Finch, but are you concerned that he can't steal powers from just regular superheroes? They have to be like cursed monsters. That's the only those are the only kinds that Curse Collector is capable of taking. Because originally, this is like a point I need to clear up about Curse Collector though is originally he was bitten by a werewolf, he was bitten by a vampire, and he was bitten by a zombie. And then at that point, they all kind of just coalesced inside of him until his like human spirit like broke over and took control over all of them. And then he just started like collecting more naturally by the natural ways. Maybe. But in the what did I call it? A Dangerous World, the like side story that I did a long ago. That's still canon, by the way. I'm not going back to that because I didn't know. That was just like more of a thought experiment to get some of the heroes out there. But in that, he steals a book from Miss Fortune, and he casts an enchantment on himself that allows him to take the like the monster spirit out of creatures or cursed beings where it's not transferable. Like it won't transfer over, you won't catch it, it's not infectious. It's just like I'm cursed and stuck this way and it's just me. He now has like like a way to like take that curse out of them and put it into his own body. So at the point we are now, he's capable of stealing curses, because that's what he did to Rat Eater's brother. He stole his brother's curse, and then behind the scenes they brought it back, and then that's why Michael was angry at Chris and Lloyd at the end of the book, is because they ruined that for him, and he came back and took it back. Yeah, the Rat Kid. Yeah. I wouldn't call him a kid. I'm pretty sure I called him bald or like rat faced. Yeah. As any collector, his ultimate goal is I want more. Yeah, he's very greedy and selfish and blinded by all of that. Like he just wants to expand his repertoire of monsters he can transform into. That's his entire goal. And honestly, that's the scariest part of him, is because he literally doesn't care about anything else. He has no other like plans. He doesn't like mastermind anything. Like he just goes to go and like get powerful monsters, and he doesn't care about anything else. Yeah, Snowdroplet, item finder. Yeah, he's a collector of like things that were lost to history. So like things that was like, oh, there was this artifact, but nobody knows what happened to it, and so he does everything he can to go track it down to its last known location, and then kind of just follow it through there. And then once it like crosses over into something, like maybe it falls into a pit, maybe it's like about to get destroyed, he just sneaks in last second and grabs it so it doesn't alter like the timeline, because it would have gone missing anyways. And I have more plans for him too, so prepare to see him coming back in either this book or the next book as well. If he got them all, what would he do next? I have no idea. I don't think he's thought that out very well. I don't I'm not sure what I don't think he knows either. I think he would just keep searching because it's not just because with magic there with incorporating magic into like any universe like Marvel and DC, there's just so much you can do with it. Like there's literally like infinite amounts of curses that you could do or put on someone. Something I've been dabbling with is that would he take the concept of a curse at its face value instead of the practicality of it? Like, would he want, like, say there's, just for arguments, uh, say there's someone who was magically cursed to always stub their toe first thing in the morning. Would he get to a point where he would see that as only a curse he doesn't have yet? And he would want to take that for himself, even if it's not beneficial in the slightest, and in fact, the opposite. Would he still see it as something? Would he see it as a Pokemon card, no matter how weak, as one that he doesn't have in his collection yet? You know what I mean? And that's something I've been kind of playing with his character in my head. Like even if it's just like the curse to, like, even if it's completely benign, would he want to get it for himself? You know? Mm-hmm. Because what was I originally? I will have to look that up. I'm gonna Google this right now. Is this gonna mess up my search history? I don't know what this is. Oh, that's the part between Sicily and Italy. What does that have to do with? What is that? Just because he doesn't have either options from there. War. I, are you implying that it's a curse to be Italian or Sicilian? Anyways, no, because my original thought is, oh, okay. I'm familiar with that first one because it was in the Godzilla movies, but I haven't heard the other one. I'll have to do research on that. I'll have to do research on that. I do plan on. I do plan on a certain. I want to be vague, so I won't say if it's a person or multiple people, but I am planning on a number of individual or individuals going to Greece at some point in future books. So, oh, hey, you. What are you doing here? And of course he comes in with the Odyssey knowledge. You're bored. Okay, well. For those of you who couldn't have guessed, this is Chris, real life Chris in the chat here. First time you've ever like A, joined one of my streams, or B, commented on it, and it's about the Odyssey. He's a big Odyssey head, this guy. We got Chris in the chat. Hey, real life Chris. What do you think about the newest chapters? About Crank and Shank and you know, the werewolf and whatnot. I even dropped the chapter a full 30 minutes early just so you can read it while we were in Discord. Don't spam Odyssey mentioned. He won't leave. Well, I'm glad you're happy to see them. I'm happy to see them back in a book form that doesn't suck. I told him all about the book and how bad it was. Finch was trying to get me to publish the Crank and Shank book that I wrote in 10th grade without any writing skill whatsoever. Are they really? I had no idea that you liked them so much. You only don't lie to me. A lot of their points is because of Corkwood, isn't it? Just because you thought Corkwood was with them. Answer me. Type faster. I know you can. It was the extra Corkwood points, wasn't it? You thought they owned Corkwood. I have a dog character. That's too many dots for that to be the truth. I have a dog character. I have no immediate plans to introduce him. His name is Corkwood. And his one skill is that he is capable of using a knife. He holds a knife in his little teeth. And he's actually quite skilled with it. A little knife dog. And one of the ideas I was kicking around is that he would be owned by Crank and Shank. To the point when I brought up that I was going to do, like, when I was in the middle of last chapter with the monkey and all that, I was talking to him about how I was planning to do Crank and Shank again. He's like, oh, so we'll see Corkwood. And I'm like, huh? He's like, didn't they own Corkwood? I'm like, no, I never really decided that they did. Yeah, that's way too many periods after the no for that to be the truth, sir. So, sorry to disappoint. Hey, you probably know that is true. And you can back me up on this. They're different enough from Supernatural, right? It is not a Sam and Dean copy, right? Especially since I made them way before I even knew who that was. Always see Corkwood at any point in the future. I have to decide who owns him first. I don't know who owns Corkwood. I made up Corkwood on the fly because I thought it would be funny for a dog to have a knife and like actually be able to use it competently. I should put up a poll in the Discord of who should own Corkwood. Who would be good? The Hiltzman. I could see the Hiltzman training a dog to use a knife. Elias training a dog to fight, also good. I think if Chris and Lloyd were to get a dog, it probably would not be smart for it to be able to use a knife. That's BS, sir. That is nothing. That is, you're here now and you haven't said anything. I'm the one who brought up the foreknowledge. They had no idea who Corkwood was until I said it. Yeah, they already have a monkey. I am floundering a little bit on the whole Crank and Shank werewolf episode, because there's already two things that I had planned to bring up and completely forgot to bring up, and now it's way too late to bring them up. So I will have to address them in the book. Like I'll have to expand that on the book so they're fine. True. True, that's fair. Hiltzman is a good thing. I'll have to think about it. I most likely will add Corkwood at some point to one of the books. I don't think it'll be in this one, unfortunately. But the way that the IRL Chris reacts to Corkwood, like he gets so hype over a dog with a knife, and I'm like, that's such a that's such a basic concept. Item finder? I can see where you're coming with that, but I don't think he would appreciate a dog running around his little thing. Well, then why? That would be the only reason, and even then, that's not like special enough to like collect the dog. Yeah, he collects stuff that's like lost to time and lost to history. Oh my god, that's hilarious. It's it's a knife that like binds itself to the wielder. And like right before he was going to like grab it, like the dog just picks it up in its mouth, and it's like bound into its teeth. That would be great. That's actually a good idea. That's actually a good idea. It's like bound. The knife is bound to the dog now, so he can't. So like he can't like take it for himself. So he's got to take the dog with him. That might be a good idea. That might be a really good idea. That might be really funny. I'll have to think on that, because Item Finder is a really hard character to write for, because he kind of bounces over time. So he kind of bounces all over time, so it's kind of hard to like keep his narrative structure in order. I'm gonna play a card real quick here. Item Finder will have another chapter in this book, the ongoing book. He will reappear, and it's going to be in a far significant manner. I don't believe I'll be able to squeeze a dog into what I'm planning for that chapter. But the thing is that him being a time traveler, I can have them run into him at any point on his timeline. So like I can have them, so he can just show up with a dog next time they meet him, and they'll just be like, what is this? And he's just be like, oh yeah. He's like, to me, this is like your fourth time meeting him. But that's actually a pretty good. What indeed is the dog doing? Thank you. See, maybe this is why you don't enjoy the streams, is because you pull stuff like this. What the dog doing? I don't know. All right. Friends, that is an hour and a half we've been streaming for in total. I'm probably going to cut it here. If there's any more comments, questions, any things that you're excited for before we hop off, I will probably do this again next week. I'll probably do another stream next week. No, I don't need to yell at you for crashing the stream. You already know. Hey, we were at 4. That was a record for us. I'll probably throughout the week I'll probably put in a couple of polls in Discord, just kind of figuring things out still, because there have been a few developments involving my Sundays, so I'll have to. We still have to narrow down like a specific time, because I don't think we ever got to that. So I'll probably do that. Yeah, there's a couple other things I'll probably add polls in the Discord for throughout the week. But other than that, thanks for reading. Thanks for joining on the stream. Thanks for chatting with me. I really hope you enjoy Whiphand and Valor going forward. And I will post the news chapter on Friday, and we'll be back here to talk about it on Sunday. So again, thank you all guys for joining. Have a good night, everybody.